Are doing phenomenal tonight. Hope everyone out there has had a great Wednesday. Hope you guys are ready for another live 2024 fantasy football draft here at the Catch. Be hopping into some Underdog fantasy football drafts tonight. Excited as ever to be here tonight. Haven't done any Underdog drafts since Sunday, which feels like a super long time ago, but that is not that long ago. Haven't streamed any since Saturday. So we, of course, have had some different news throughout the week, whether it's been injury related, whether it's been Brandon Ayuk drama. So excited to kind of see what ADP is looking like, how the trend is flowing, and what we can throw together in terms of some beautiful fantasy football squads for the 2024 season. So I don't know what contest I want to end. I went into tonight thinking I was just going to do a Best Ball Mania draft, but now we got weekly winners is at a fill rate of 87.3%. So I need to knock out some weekly winners. And then we've got Flock Community Contest 2 is live. So a second Flock contest. We filled out the last one that went out. And we got the Poodle 2, which is a $7 entry. So Flock Community Contest is a 3-entry max, $10 entry, $10K to first. Poodle 2, $7 entry, 10 entry max, $40K to first. And then we've also got a Superflex tournament as well. Rottweiler is going to fill tonight if you guys want to get in. Best Ball Mania is at a 61% fill rate. So let me know. I don't really want to do a Superflex draft tonight, but let me know in terms of the other two contests, which one you guys would rather hop into. And I'll probably enter a lobby in like a minute or so. So for any of you guys out there who do want to join tonight's draft, I'm thinking I'm going to enter the Poodle. You know what? I just made a decision in my mind. We're going to enter the Poodle. Cheapest entry, higher payout here. And then maybe I'll do a Flock contest as well. So should have time for a second draft tonight for anyone who wants to hop into either draft. If you guys do want to hop in, sorry, trying to get the poll set up on YouTube. You guys do want to hop in, I'm going to hop in at 9:52 p.m. Eastern time. So 9:52, the Poodle 2. And we are hopping in, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. 9 spots, Poodle lobby. Get in there. All right. Six spots. Get in the draft, guys. Get in the dang draft. All right, getting everything set up. Sorry, I usually do this before stream, but I didn't tonight. So I'm off my game. All right, draft is full, ladies and gentlemen. Ignore that. Sorry. All right, we should be good to go. Draft is starting in 60 seconds. Let's do this dang thing. All right, any fantasy football questions you guys have? I mean, it's redraft season, baby. Let me know. Any fantasy football topics you guys want to go over? Let me know. And I'll go through the fantasy news of the day as well, because we do have one or two things that I want to touch on. All right, 2 more clicks here, and I'll be all set up. All right. Mike Williams has been activated from the PUP list for the Jets. This doesn't impact me personally. I haven't really been drafting any Mike Williams, but it is something to pay attention to, especially those of you keen on the Jets offense going into the year, which to some degree I am. I was a fan of Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. Mike Williams being healthy will help both of those guys. Let me check my mic. All right, we're good. Anyways, not major news, right? The 49ers signed former Buccaneers running back Keyshawn Vaughn. So we talked last night about the 49ers backfield. Christian McCaffrey, a calf strain. Then we got Elijah Mitchell banged up as well. So they signed Matt Breida, and now Keyshawn Vaughn coming to this roster. So is this something like major in my eyes? No, this is depth moves and them trying to ensure that they have healthy running backs on the team in general. So I'm not in any way concerned about this, and you should not be concerned about this either. All right, here is a more concerning update. Colts wide receiver Josh Downs suffered a high ankle sprain during practice today. Downs is expected to miss about a month, and his status for the season opener is now in jeopardy. So, yeah, I mean, him coming back from this would put him is right on the cusp of being ready for week one. So I think I cursed Josh Downs because I just started talking about Josh Downs recently, like a lot, and liking Josh Downs, especially at his ADP. So I think this might be my fault. I'm not entirely sure. Time will tell. But this is definitely unfortunate. He was lighting up training camp, looked great, looked like a true wide receiver too, was making like A.D. Mitchell look like a wide receiver 3, and I think a lot of people forgot that there was a point last year where Josh Downs was actually pretty good for a couple weeks, especially in full PPR. So this was definitely unfortunate, but there's still definitely the opportunity and chance for Josh Downs to play week one. And if not, he shouldn't miss a tremendous amount of time. Falcons wide receiver Rondo Moore carted off the practice field with an inflatable cast on his right leg. And then I will know that the Falcons ended practice after this. So that is never a good sign. Definitely a bad injury for Rondo Moore. And this isn't going to impact your casual fantasy fan in any way. I mean, outside of the fact that, we don't have a status on Rondo Moore, but I would assume this is not good. This is going to be a long-term injury, right? And so in terms of pure fantasy impact, this helps Drake London, obviously, and this helps Kyle Pitts and probably to a degree Bijan Robinson in terms of potential targets. Outside of that, underdog drafters, best ball drafters may have taken some shares here and there of Rondo Moore as a 17th, 18th round draft selection if you were building a Falcon stack or a Kirk Cousins stack. I have drafted Rondo Moore a few times on teams that have Cousins and Pitts or Cousins and London or, a combination of those two and Bijan Robinson. It's you're in the final round of the draft, just throw Rondo Moore on here and get some exposure. This is also probably positive fantasy-wise for Darnell Mooney. So do I think Rondo Moore was going to have a tremendous impact on the upcoming season for the Falcons? No, but there's always the opportunity for a player to have some impact here and there. But he was definitely going to be a wide receiver 3 or 4 on this roster behind Mooney and Drake London. And in terms of targets, you'd probably still see more to Pitts and potentially Bijan as well. But we're just not escaping injuries here beginning of off season. All right, other than that, nothing new to go over. We know about Puka's knee injury being bursa sac. We know about Christian McCaffrey's calf strain. Let's not panic on those two situations. And that's really it. Everything else we went over in last night's stream or the stream before. So any fantasy football questions you guys have, throw them in the chat. and we'll just continue to rip through this draft tonight. So I go double wide receiver to start here, Garrett Wilson and Drake London. Only downside with this is they both have the same bye week, so you're kind of putting your two highest stock players in the same bye. But the upside here, maybe upside not the right word as often as we use that in fantasy talk, but the advantage here, I should say, is that both have late round quarterbacks. So if you are building a stack in a best ball style draft, Kirk Cousins ADP is 145.2, Rodgers ADP is 159.2. So we can sit back for a while at quarterback, or get an earlier quarterback and then get one of those two guys later on and still be in good shape. So for this next selection, I was going to say Derrick Henry falls. You guys know I'm drafting Derrick Henry. I don't mind taking Pacheco here, kind of going hero running back and then just seeing what wide receiver falls to 38, because you never know what pick at 36, 37 is going to do. You got Diggs, Dell, Laporta, Allen, Pacheco is a top player. So you guys know how I feel about Pacheco. I think he has top 5 upside at the position this year. So I'll snag him here. And we'll see who falls to 38 at wide receiver. You got Diggs, Dell, Pickens, Cooper, Higgins, Kirk, McLaurin, Hollywood Brown. Top available wide receivers. But I'll take Pacheco there all day long. Even an underdog draft, I love him at that ADP. So, I mean, team in front of us does go running back, important to note. So if we hold off on Pacheco there, I would say he probably takes Pacheco over ETN. In terms of wide receivers, this is kind of a weird tier, but let's go Stephon Diggs. I mean, some people kind of down on Diggs, but I still like Diggs in the 4th round. You know, I think the interesting thing with Stephon Diggs, looking at last year, is like we think of last year as such a down season for Stephon Diggs. And while the second half wasn't like particularly amazing, he was still the wide receiver 9 in full PPR. Bear in mind he had a 3 touchdown game in week 4, but end of the day, top 10 wide receiver last year. And when they made that change at offensive coordinator, actually initially he wasn't that bad. It was like week 10 through week 17 where it was like, this guy is just invisible in fantasy. He had a good game against Philly in week 12, but Philly had arguably the worst secondary in the whole league last year. Other than that, Stephon Diggs, 6.4, 6.7, 6.4, 8.8, 7.9, 7.1, and he missed week 13. So I totally get being down on Stephon Diggs. But, you know, Nico Collins is the Texans wide receiver that I prefer, 100%. But, you know, obviously you're paying a higher draft price on Nico Collins. So getting Diggs in the 4th, I still think Diggs is going to have an okay season and be a player that gets targeted in the red zone. I've said all offseason long, I think Collins is like the consistent play, going to do a little bit of everything in that offense, going to have a good season. You're not going to be disappointed with him. He's going to be the wide receiver on the Texans you can trust the most. Then Diggs is going to be that kind of like, I think, red zone target, going to be a little bit up and down. Then Tank Dell is just going to bring a lot of upside, still going to be a guy you want in the flex, who brings a lot of upside as overall and is maybe a little bit inconsistent for that reason, but he's still going to be great. So pick your poison. I think that this Texans wide receiver core is going to be a little frustrating at times for fantasy, but should pay off as well. All right. YouTube chat, what's going on, guys? Mr. Skurs, hello. Legit Royals, we are in the draft. You know it. J-Dubs, good to see you. JSC, the Packers getting Josh Jacobs and Vikings getting Aaron Jones. Which team was the smart one? Which one was the dumb one? I mean, I prefer Josh Jacobs personally. I mean, Aaron Jones was fine last year when healthy for the most part. I think he probably has some juice left in him. Came out week 1, looked good. When he healed up at the end of the season, weeks 15, 16, 17, the fantasy playoffs, he had double digits each game, 10, 14 and a half, and 14. But really, I mean, week 1, week 9, weeks 15, 16, 17, and week 18, which didn't matter for fantasy. Those were the only impactful games for Aaron Jones. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I mean, you can kind of look at this situation with Minnesota one of two ways. Like either this offense just kind of in a weird spot, and for that reason, there's not as much upside, not as much scoring. I don't know. Maybe Sam Darnold's going to surprise us. Addison suspension. It's like this is just a weird offense, I think, at this current moment. But yeah, so maybe that hurts Aaron Jones' total upside. Now, how often is this offense actually going to be scoring, right? Sorry, let me make this draft pick. And I wasn't planning on going running back here, but I'm going to do it. I haven't really been drafting this way on Underdog, but I'm going to take 2 running backs through the first 6, and then we'll take another wide receiver here at 62. But yeah, so I think the other way to look at Aaron Jones is this offense has to rely. I'm going to take Xavier Worthy here. Has to rely on the run game a bit because the passing game might be struggling. So we'll see. I think on the other hand that the Packers offense is going to be good this year in the red zone more often. A lot of young, exciting players on that offense. I think Jordan Love's going to have another solid year. So yeah, I don't really think it's a matter of who was dumb or not dumb. I think either running back could be more successful in the Packers situation. But yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones is 29. Josh Jacobs is 26. I mean, that is a big difference for running backs. And I mean, just don't forget, Jacobs is a year removed from a top 3 finish in fantasy football. And I think that's just in full PPR. I think in standard in 2022, Jacobs was the RB. I want to say it was the RB1. But 2021, RB11, 2020, RB8. So, I mean, go back deep into the depths of this channel and remember going into 2022, me yelling at you guys all off season long. This is a contract year for Josh Jacobs. Okay. He's been the RB8 and the RB11. Draft him this year. One of my most drafted players in 2022. But yeah, then you look at last year. Big fall off. Hurt last year at the end of the season. Played in 13 games. I mean, when you really break it down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games he played in where he gave you single digits was the RB28. I mean, if he had played a full season, he would have hit 1,000 rushing yards. But still big regression going from what he did the season before, right? So, I think Jacobs in this offense can be great. At his ADP, I haven't really been drafting a tremendous amount of him. I think you guys know that, but I just prefer Pacheco or Derrick Henry in that range. But I need to I need to get more exposure to Josh Jacobs. Chase, saw a fantasy doc talking about downs. Could be a lingering thing for him early in the season. Yeah, ankle injuries never make me feel good when it comes to a player. I mean, they just don't for any reason. It's just one of those things that it's like you think about an ankle injury and the cuts, especially a slot wide receiver like Josh Downs has to make. There's just nothing about an ankle injury that should make us feel like in any way good. So we definitely want to keep an eye on it. That's for sure. And we'll just have to kind of, be patient and see how things go. But I don't think it's crazy to say that it could end up being lingering for sure. Man, I thought Stroud might fall here. I don't know what this team is. But I was considering going Stroud. There goes man of the hour, Aaron Jones. Just nothing really great at wide receiver here. Team in front of me has Laporta. I mean, I'm okay going Ferguson here. I want to hold off at running back for a minute, so I'll just draft Cortland Sutton because I want the best available wide receiver right here. And I think we can get Ferguson with this next pick. I mean, D-Hop's available, but we know he's going to miss time. You got Jordan Addison. I was okay with drafting Addison at his ADP, and there he goes. But I've been a little bit more shaky on Addison, who I have quite a bit of exposure to. So I think he's okay there at 83, but I'm going to go with my boy Cortland Sutton as a wide receiver 5, and we'll move along, get our tight end 1 and Jake Ferguson. So we're looking okay to start this draft. Pacheco, White, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Diggs, Xavier Worthy, Cortland Sutton, Jake Ferguson. Solid start, especially for going 2 running backs through the first 5. I think we got good value there. J-Dubs, what are you doing over here? We got Bijan, Adams, Metcalf, Dell. Nice start. Lamar, Roma Dunze, and your boy Brian Tommy. Looking solid. But yeah, that was kind of a tough pick there. I consider going with a 3rd running back there, but I just don't want to miss out on. I think the way this draft has gone, I'm going to end up going wide receiver like every other pick until we hit 8 wide receivers. If Ayuk gets traded, Debo, Kyron, or A-Chain? Well, it's a good question, Bryce, but for me, it's a little bit more about like if at that point in the draft, which for most people is going to be end of the 2nd round based on ADP, at that point in the draft, are you in need of drafting a wide receiver or running back? If you want to go wide receiver, I think Debo's on some sites Debo goes in the 3rd round, but in a lot of sites he's going at the end of the 2nd, which is where Kyron and A-Chain are also going. So for me, it's like really like, are you at that point in the draft, are you planning on drafting wide receiver, running back? Because I don't think it necessarily like skyrockets Debo ahead of those 2 players. But it's also hard to say. Like the last mock I did, full PPR, single quarterback mock with the community last night, we're seeing running back getting a little bit more aggressive in the mock drafts. I mean, the 2nd round last night was Gibbs at the 2-1, Taylor at the 2-3, Barkley at the 2-4, Kyron at the 2-5, Etienne at the 2-6, Henry at the 2-7, A-Chain at the 2-8, Jacobs at the 2-11, Pacheco at the 3-2, White at the 3-9, Cook at the 3-12, C-Mac, Hall, and Bijan all in the 1st. So I think a big part of it is those early, 1st round drafters who get Hall or Bijan are just saying, I'm going to go double hero running back, because the upside with Hall or Bijan with a running back like Kyron Williams, for example, or Barkley or JT, Henry, Etienne, A-Chain, whoever, is just way too hard to pass on. And I think the other thing that happens is the rest of the drafters in the draft start to look at that and say, okay, well, I'm going to take a running back in the 2nd too, because it's just getting way more aggressive. So, I think to answer your question, because like in last night's draft, we saw Debo at the 3-5. Where did Ayuk go? Okay, I think I'm missing. He went literally. That's why I'm missing. He went right next to Debo at the 3-5, Ayuk to the 3-6. So, yeah, like I think it just really comes down to strategy. I don't think it puts Debo in front of those 2 players, but maybe next to in tier. Like I think it would make more sense in this mock if it's just Debo on the team for Debo to go maybe ahead of a guy like Chris Olave, Mike Evans, Devonta Smith, Drake London, Nico Collins, who were the wide receivers taken in front of him, arguably. Which, that would, for example, the draft would have gone Kyron, Etienne, Henry, A-Chain, Debo, Olave, Evans, Jacobs. So I think that makes sense. But am I necessarily the way what makes it difficult is I'm going to be in so many leagues this year that, and I've done so many drafts already that it's like I just have so many different drafts, right? Or contingent drafts that I'll be doing different strategies. So it's not like I am necessarily going to say a player has to be taken before another player. All right. I think I'm going to go running back here. Just give me Javonte. Got some Denver exposure on this squad. I need to avoid week 12 wide receiver buys. It's just kind of a gross spot for wide receiver. I think I'm going to go double running back here. And we're going to get Gus the Bus. We'll move along. Still looking sharp. I mean, we just add some running back depth here. So Pacheco, White, Javonte, Gus, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Diggs, Worthy, Sutton, and Jake the Snake. Now, honestly, if we want to talk like smart, which I'm not, but I think going Dak Prescott there at 107 makes a lot of sense. And then we go Brandon Cooks at the 110. And then we see if Dowdle falls to the 131. And or we get Dallas Goedert maybe over Cooks. Like maybe we go Ferguson and Dak as a stack. And then we get Goddard because the Eagles and Cowboys play in Week 17, but I am fine with what I did, which is none of those things. Terry, redraft, half PPR, 6 spot out of 10. He's drafted from the 6 overall. Stroud, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, Bijan, A-Chain, Laporta, Pickens, Chuba, Gus, Singletary, Ridley, Coleman, B-Rob, and Algier. Is there anything I should try to do? So, I mean, you're starting Stroud, Wilson, Waddle, Bijan, A-Chain, Laporta. You're flexing Pickens. I mean, your core roster, I would keep that together. You have a lot of running back depth is like the main thing that stands out here. It's half PPR, so, I mean, that makes sense. Dude, Bijan and A-Chain is just crazy. Getting Bijan, A-Chain, Garrett Wilson, and Waddle, and even in a 10 team, and Laporta in a 10 team is still great. Chuba, Gus, Singletary, Ridley, Coleman, B-Rob, Algier. No, I don't think there's anything you can try and tier up at wide receiver. Like, I think if you trade like Pickens and maybe you have a running back needy team and you try and tier up that flex wide receiver Pickens to someone else, like I think that's okay. Or maybe like you throw Pickens and Coleman in a package, or Pickens and Ridley, and just try to go aggressive and tier up. But other than that, no, I wouldn't really change much on this team. This is a very solid team. So, no. All right, so just so you guys know, for the week on the channel, right now I have a mock draft done for you guys. 12-team mock drafts from the 1.1, the 1.2, and the 1.3. And then I have the 1.4 and 1.5 coming out. Tomorrow's what, Thursday? So those will come out Friday and Saturday. And then I'm going to try and get the 1.6 done by, well, I don't really put them out on Sunday, so I guess by Monday, and then that'll be, I'll try and get the other half, 1.7 to 1.12 done next week as well. And then I'll get 10-team mocks out for you guys as well. But, of course, anytime you guys have questions, anything about your drafts, just hop into the live streams and get you guys my question or your questions answered. But those are live. And then, of course, we have all kinds of other content popping out for you guys as well. All right, Dylan on TikTok. Thoughts on DK this year? I want to go running backs first 2 rounds because I hate the later round running backs. Yeah, a lot of value this year in going double hero running back. So nothing wrong with that whatsoever. The first two rounds at running back are just super loaded this year. And I do actually think that there are a lot of good late round running backs. A lot of guys you see on the board right now, especially if you go double running back early, double hero running back, right? Get a guy like, if you're getting Bijan, sorry, let me make these 2 draft picks. Oh no, Josh Downs out here alone. My boy. Man, do I risk it and just go Josh Downs? No, I don't think I can. I'm going to get my second tight end and get Dalton Schultz locked up here. And then I have to draft Kirk Cousins. I'm glad I checked because I wasn't looking at quarterbacks at all. And there's a team out here that's got Pitts. He already had 2 quarterbacks, but he's right in front of me. I knew there was someone out there who had Pitts. Just give me Kirko Chains. But and Dylan, you say you had the 7th pick in a 10-man. Yeah, in a 10-man, don't sweat it, my dude. I mean, if you're gonna come out here and get Breece Hall or Gibbs in the first, I would hope you get Breece, but it might end up being Gibbs, which is still fine. If it's Bijan as well, that's great. But if you can get any one of those 3 running backs, then you're going RB in the beginning of the second. Whether it's JT or Barkley would be the 2 I would target at the turn there. But even if it's a guy like Kyron or Derrick Henry, I would not be mad at it. So yeah, lots of value there. And then like when you're looking at wide receivers in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, there's so much value there, dude. Like there's even in 12-team mocks, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round at wide receiver is pretty loaded right now. So if you are looking at a guy like DK Metcalf, I actually think that Metcalf can be the wide receiver 2 for you, gone in the 4th round if all falls right. It kind of depends on, every draft is different. It depends on who you're drafting with. But you could see DK Metcalf come to you in the 4th. And, yeah, I mean, some people down on DK Metcalf. Was still a wide receiver 2 last year. Was a wide receiver 21 in fantasy. And has kind of been like fringe wide receiver 2 for 2 years now. Fantasy has wide receiver 16 and 14 the 2 previous years. Hasn't been a wide receiver 1 really since 2020 when he was a wide receiver 7. But still a solid year last year for DK. Over 1,000 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns. Now, we do want to bear in mind he had that big dominant performance against Dallas in week 13. Half of his catches were touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. 6 catches, 3 touchdowns. So, but you break it down, he had double digits every game he played in, except for 2. I mean, not including week 18, which doesn't matter, right? So, just still very consistent. And that's kind of what DK brings to the table, right? It's just consistency. So I don't have any problem with that. Plus, you have to understand this is a new offense this year, and it should be better. I think a lot of people paying close attention actually like DK Metcalf quite a bit because this offense will improve this year. And it's not going to be like, like having Lockett, JSN, and then like Noah Fant, who actually suffered a foot injury yesterday. It was kind of buzzing as an offseason name for some people, but like Walker, Charps, this is still a good offense on paper. I think this could actually be a bit of a surprising offense this year. So I work full time. I don't know why I always say this so weird, but for Chris and Pierre from Fantasy Endgame, and Pierre loves DK Metcalf this year. I mean, that's like one of his favorite players at this point in the offseason. And I always try to, pay close attention to what those guys are saying because I would consider them to be true fantasy experts. So, I like where Metcalf's at right now. And I think you kind of look at wide receivers going near that range, Neighbors, Cup, Flowers, Cooper Kirk, Del Rice Pickens. Honestly, I think Metcalf for me is, in terms of interest, closer to like a Michael Pittman, Zay Flowers. I mean, it's still kind of right where he's being drafted, but I think it's just he's being drafted accordingly. But I do think that he can actually have the potential to have a wide receiver 1 year. But yeah, I mean, if you're pairing him with a guy like Pittman, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, Debo Samuel, Nico Collins, I don't think you have much to worry about, quite frankly. Man, I saw Ricky Pearsall also dealing with an injury, shoulder injury resurfaces. So that's not good news. All right, guy in front of me just has one quarterback, but Stafford's on the board. He's got Puka. He probably won Stafford. So I'm going to get Rodgers at 158. I need a wide receiver. I kind of want to draft Pop Douglas, but I'm drafting my boy, Demarcus Robinson, which might piss this guy off. He might have wanted him too, but yeah, he goes Stafford and Pearsall. That's fine. All right, I got to get Rodgers. Oh, I did this again. I've literally done this like twice in like the past week. Where I draft Garrett Wilson and Drake London, who have the same bye. And I'm like, I can get both my quarterbacks late. And I draft Cousins at 134, Rodgers at 158. And they also have the same bye. So now I am forced to draft a third quarterback. All right, Chase, interesting. I didn't see San Francisco was asking for first 2-round picks. I haven't seen that either. Yeah, this Brandon Ayuk situation is like early today. Everything I was saying was like Brandon Ayuk's going to the Steelers. Like, oh my gosh, when is this saga ever going to end? Dylan said DK and like Waddle or Cup, new offensive coordinator for DK, absolutely. Yeah, and whether it's Waddle, Cup, I named a couple of those other wide receivers I like in that range. Because let's see, you said you're drafting from the 7th. Drafting from the 7th, you have a strong chance to get Breece Hall, although the hype around Hall always kind of progressing, I would say, this offseason, but as is Bijan's. But you get Hall at 7, get your running back of choice in the following round. Going into the 3rd round, I think you can easily get like a Nico Collins, Drake London, Jalen Waddle, or Debo. And then going into the 4th, I think you have a good chance at getting DK Metcalf. So I think that's a very solid start. And then really in the 5th, like you should be looking at players like potentially Cooper, Christian Kirk, Tank Dell, Rashee Rice, Pickens or Higgins. I really like Higgins where he's going in drafts right now. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of value in going double hero running back this year, really regardless of format. JSC, do you think Javonte Williams can finish as a top 10 running back this year? I think top 10's a little steep. I don't know if I'm going to say top 10. I mean, you look at, right, I mean, we got C-Mac, Hall, Bijan, Gibbs, JT, Barkley, Kyron, Etienne, Henry, A-Chain, Jacobs, Pacheco, White, Cook, Kamara, Mixon. I don't know if I'm putting Javonte in front of any of those guys. And like if I'm looking at a late round running back in that range who I think could have a season surprising enough, it'd probably be like Zamir White. Or like one of the Washington running backs if the other running back gets hurt. And I do like Javonte. But I don't know if I'm going to go top 10. And I think a big part of it, too, is like, I mean, how could a Broncos running back potentially finish that high when the offense as a whole is probably not going to be great? You know what I mean? Dang, Bryce Young and Baker Mayfield gone. Who's going to be our QB3? Man, I need to get another running back on this squad. It's probably going to be Dameon Pierce against his ADP. I got to draft Malachi Corley. That's who I have to draft. I got Rodgers. I got Wilson. Yeah, give me Corley, who's kind of been one of my late round wide receivers anyways. I might draft Braylon Allen here. We're kind of going heavy Jets over here. We're good at tight end. How many wide receivers on this team? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we're at 7. I can kind of go. Yeah, give me Braylon Allen. I don't know if I want to go Braylon Allen. Oh, yeah, I do. I was going to say, I'm thinking I might go Dameon Pierce, but he got drafted right there. Yeah, this homeboy drafted in front of me is having a pretty decent draft. So, yeah, I mean, we're looking fine here. We got Cousins stacked with Lundo. A-Rod stacked with Wilson and Corley. Pacheco, White, Javonte, Gus, Braylon Allen. So really what we have here is we have a double hero running back build, but we really go with those two running backs in the 3rd and the 5th, give us more upside at wide receiver. Then we're just hoping Javonte and Gus kind of fill in there when necessary. And then we're just taking 1 or 2 dart throw picks at running backs. And that might be, well, I'm going to have to draft one more quarterback to offset that bye week. So, but Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Diggs, Worthy, Cortland Sutton, Demarcus Robinson, Malachi Corley, Jake Ferguson, Dalton Schultz. Solid draft here. We'll take it. Thoughts on the Saints, asks JSC. I think the Saints are fine. I think every Saints player is basically being drafted at a fine ADP. Now, I do like Chris Olave a lot. Like, Chris Olave is a player I'll talk about in tomorrow's video that comes out. Wide receiver 25 his rookie season. Wide receiver 16 last year. I was expecting a bigger jump last year. Kind of took a while for this offense to really get rolling. And once it did get rolling, I mean, you really look at Chris Olave last year, single digits 1, 2, 3, 4 times in games he played in. He missed one game, week 15, but so you could say 5, but really in games he played in last year, fantasy double digits in 4 games, or single digits in 4 games. Sorry, geez, double digits every other game. So 12 games where he hit double digits in PPR. Nearly 1,200 receiving yards, 5 receiving touchdowns. Still had 138 targets. So I think Olave is a player to target at the end of the 2nd, beginning of the 3rd, depending on your draft size and everything. But, you know, you look at where Rashid Shaheed gets drafted. Shaheed, especially like in redraft PPR mocks right now, a player that I would draft. He's been lighting up training camp. And I will say Olave has been dealing with a off and on hip injury this offseason, and Shaheed's been dealing with like hamstring stuff, but this is like typical wide receiver injury offseason crap. But you know, Shaheed, well, last year was still maybe arguably underwhelming because like last year Shaheed was one of my most drafted players actually. He was a late round player that I absolutely loved. So with what he ended up with, 719 receiving yards, 5 receiving touchdowns, 46 receptions, it felt disappointing, right? Wide receiver 44. But I think Shaheed is a player who could take a step forward this year. And then Alvin Kamara, where he's being drafted, I think just perfectly fine. So, all right, let me make these 2 draft picks. See, like for example, in this draft, I would draft Derek Carr right here as a QB3 if he didn't have a Week 12 bye. Tell me why seeing Daniel Jones get in the middle of a brawl makes me like feel like okay about drafting Daniel Jones in round 17 of a best ball draft. I'm going to go Justin Fields. The bye week for this team for Cousins and Rodgers would be week 12. So, all right, then truthfully, this last pick is just a crapshoot pick. Oh my gosh. I could have gone Daniel Jones and Darius Slayton there. Just added one more stack to this team. I mean, for me, it's either Darius Slayton or you take one more running back. But yeah, I'll just draft a wide receiver. I'll draft Darius Slayton. I mean, pick your poison here. Devontae Walker, which the Ravens did add a wide receiver, Russell Gage, to this roster like yesterday. But Zay Jones, Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, Malik Washington. We're, slim pickings out here. All right. But yeah, I think the Saints are fine. Jason Shipley at 169. Yeah, I didn't even see that. I guess that guy likes Will Shipley because no other. I mean, sometimes you're just in this point. And it's like, I mean, yeah, that's early. I don't know. Cats, good to see you, bro. What contest? I'll run another after this. I don't really know if. I feel like I want to do the poodle again. Like, I got into the first flock pool. It's just not a massive. It'd just be cool, like, if you did win something in the extremely small chance you have, like, and I could be like, hey, Mason, I got second place in your tournament. But I think I kind of want to enter the poodle again. Albert, good to see you, bro. Gavin, what's up? What's up? Smokey, hello. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being in the chat tonight. Yeah, I'm going to enter the poodle after this. Once again. All right, there's the first draft done. Let's take a look. 100 or so. How many drafts am I in? 80, 87, 88. Dang, I thought I was at 100 already. All right, Poodle 2. Cousins, Rodgers, Justin Fields, Pacheco, White, Javonte, Gus the Bus, Braylon Allen, Gary Wilson, Drake London, Stephon Diggs, Xavier Worthy, Cortland Sutton, Demarcus Robinson, Malachi Corley, Darius Slayton, Fergie, and Schultz. We'll take it. Nothing crazy, but we'll take it. J-Dubs went with Lamar and Trevor Lawrence. T-Law stacked with Brian Thomas. And you got some Baltimore wide receivers there at the end. Bijan Eckler, Dowdle, Marshawn Lloyd, Ray Davis, Roschon Johnson. I will say, guys, I'm starting to rise on Ray Davis. This has been a name throughout the offseason, or at least the month of August so far, that has been hard to ignore. Adams, Metcalf, Dell, Rome, B-Tom, Hopkins, Bateman, Walker, Bowers, Conklin. Not bad. Not bad. All right, guys, I will be entering the lobby at 10:38 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, Kat says he likes... What's 10th place for the poodle? Well, yeah, I guess because this is a smaller... Anyways, I'm entering the poodle 2 in 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm in the Poodle 2 lobby. There's 8 spots. You guys can get in here easily. Let's do it. 3 spots. Poodle 2, get in here. 1 spot. And the draft is filled. We got Cats and J-Dubs. Jason's in here. We got Football Jedi. We got the Fantasy Dad. We got G Unit. Oh my gosh. Got like my whole childhood in here. G Unit and Football Jedis. Let's do it. All right, any fantasy football questions you guys have? Any fantasy football topics that you want to go over? Let me know. And let's throw together another squad here. I think I'm just going to go like super aggressive at wide receiver to start this draft. See what happens. Cats, J-Dubs, Jason, good luck. If any of you other guys are in here and didn't notice, let me know. All right, Lamb's gone at the 1-1. I don't know. It's kind of tough to not go Breece Hall at the 1-7 or Bijan if they're there. But with the last draft going 2 running backs through the first 5, I want to do a 4, 5, 6 wide receiver start. Hill, Chase, C-Mac, all gone. No surprises here. Katz is on the clock. Probably going to do something weird. Goes Amon-Ra, not that weird. Be interesting with me and Jason next to each other. Man, I just did a draft where I was like all in on Atlanta and the Jets. I think I have a higher exposure to Breece Hall. Oh, well. Just give me Breece. Both are fine here. Breece, Bijan, whoever you prefer. Let's pull up my exposures. Let's see. Who am I higher on? I think it is Breece, but no, Bijan's at 8.9. Breece at 6.3. Okay, so that's the right pick. Top drafted quarterbacks: Baker, Bryce Young, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Tua. I mean, it's always going to be those later round guys. It just is. When you're building teams with 2 or 3 quarterbacks, it is. Still, in terms of elite guys, Patrick Mahomes is far ahead of everyone else. Mahomes at 8.9, Stroud at 7.6, Kyler at 6.3, Hurts at 6.3, Allen at 3.8, Burrow at 2.5. At least they're all sprinkled in there. Running backs: Austin Eckler, Gus Edwards, Jerome Ford, Damian Pierce, DeAndre Swift, Chuba Hubbard. I do have the next highest player is Derrick Henry. I have a 19% share of Derrick Henry right now. Pacheco's at 16.5, White at 15.2, Barkley at 13.9, C-Mac's at 11.4, which is pretty high for C-Mac. I just have had so many drafts from the 1.1 or the 1.2 on Underdog this year. So top, geez, I'm all over the place. Top drafted wide receivers. I need to literally stop drafting DeMarcus Robinson. I mean, I have a 50.6% exposure to DeMarcus Robinson.
You know what? I'm going to go double hero running back again. Just give me Barkley here. Let's just do it. Let's just do the opposite of what I said I was going to do. Hollywood Brown, Malachi Corley, Cortland Sutton, Christian Watson, Jahan Dotson, Romeo Dobbs, Deontay Johnson, Nico Collins. So in terms of like elite guys, so to speak, let's just say higher tier guys. I mean, Deontay Johnson's at 19%, but not saying he's like elite tier, but at all. But Nico Collins, 17.7. Christian Kirk's also at 17.7. Chris Godwin's at 15.2. I have a pretty good overall exposure to those first round tier wide receivers, though. Amon-Ra's at 13.9. Mike Evans at 13.9. Rashee Rice at 13.9. Xavier Worthy at 13.9. Michael Pittman at 12.7. Devonta Smith is at 12.7. Drake London's at 11.4. Zay Flowers at 10.1. So Tyreek Hill at 10.1. Good. Higgins at 10.1. Kupp at 8.9. Waddle at 8.9. A.J. Brown at 8.9. Puka at 8.9. Tank Dell's at 7.6. Reed's at 7.6. Jamar Chase at 7.6. Marvin Harrison at 7.6. CeeDee Lamb at 6.3. Garrett Wilson at 6.3. JJ at 5.1. So still, I mean, having like 5% or higher of all those top tier wide receivers, nothing to sneeze at. Interesting. We see Debo at the 111 and Puka at 2.2. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. I'm doing it. I'm going full send. Heavy running back squad tonight. Don't ask me why I'm doing this. This almost ensures we have to draft a third team. Don't ask me why I'm doing this. Hall, Barkley, Henry. Watch out for this squad. All right, now I'm screwed at wide receiver. How high did Malik Neighbors at the 2-1? Yeah, this is an interesting draft. I went triple running back, which no one does. Neighbors at the 2-1. Debo at the 111. Cats is eating over there because Amon-Ra, Nico, and Metcalf. Jacob's got Garrett Wilson, MH Jr., and Diggs. Jason goes Brown, Smith, Kelsey. I was really hoping Puka fell back. I have too much Wilson London. I mean, especially if you're drafting early in the offseason, it's like impossible. You're at the 110, 111. Those are the two guys you're going to end up with. Cat says I get the one that gets weird. Yeah. It happens, bro. All right, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do in this draft. I don't know why I did this, but I'm not drafting another running back for a long time in this draft. That's for sure. All right, so I want to hunt for wide receiver ones. You know what? I don't draft him a ton. Just give me Pickens. Just give me George Pickens. I'm going to try and switch up exposure. Tony says fantasy isn't an exact science. It's mostly a guessing game. For sure. I mean, it's a lot of luck. I mean, I always tell people, right, we're trying to, when you draft, really trying to just prepare yourself for the entire 17-week stretch as much as possible. Like, there's definitely a massive advantage to having a good draft. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's like, how much more contingent is your entire season on playing the waiver wire, trading, injuries, non-injuries, than it is your actual draft. I mean, it's a combination of everything, right? Um, but it's just it's definitely not a science. I would agree with that. That's the fun of it, though. Tresner, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Yeah, man. We're getting freaky over here. 3 running backs to start. Switching it up. Tony says, don't want wide receivers from the Browns, Panthers, Commanders, Pats. Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on ADP, right? All depends on value of where those guys are going. So, I mean, I always say, especially in full PPR, bad offenses still produce good fantasy players. So I think, like, for example, Cooper at his ADP is perfectly fine, actually. Really, when you look at what Cooper was able to do last year, I'm not too worried about him, although I don't disagree. I'm not a fan of what we're potentially going to see from the Browns passing game this year. I do think the Panthers passing offense will be improved this season with Dave Canales at head coach. Look at what he did last year with Tampa Bay and the year before with Seattle. But I think Deontay Johnson in full PPR is worth the selection for that reason. I will go with Jaden Reed here. When it comes to the Commanders, once again, I think when you look at Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator, where Terry McLaurin gets drafted, I think he's fine. I don't find myself aggressively drafting Terry McLaurin. Maybe take a chance on Jahan Dotson later, just because he's so like cheap in terms of ADP overall. But yeah, I feel better. You know, you look at what Jaden Daniels did last year, final year of college, like fantasy wise, he's kind of like more known for his rushing capacity, which was definitely there, but he also threw the football a ton and threw the football downfield a ton as well. So if this Cliff Kingsbury offense can really click, then I actually do like those wide receivers there. Now the Patriots, I'm pretty much with you on that one. You know, we're going to get a combination of Jacoby Brissett and Drake May this year. And but once again, like you look at where the Patriots wide receivers are getting drafted, like how much is it really hurting your team when you draft those players? Probably not a ton, you know, if they don't end up doing anything. So like I think Pop Douglas, where he goes, is completely fine. And I mean really, whatever Patriots wide receiver that you prefer drafting, and you know maybe in like redraft formats you don't need to draft them, but here in like an underdog draft they're gonna get drafted because we're going through 18 rounds. So I think Jalen Polk is fine, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean you want to figure out those offenses that you aren't a fan of, and make sure you're drafting accordingly and targeting the offenses that you do feel good about. Tony also says, hard to believe Derrick Henry and Eckler aren't first-round picks anymore. Yeah, and I mean, Henry wasn't a first-round pick last year unless you were in like a standard league. You know, maybe in a half PPR league, Henry went in the first. But Henry last year was a second-round pick and an end of the second-round pick at that. So, which is interesting because he ended up finishing as the RB8, went from the RB4 to the RB8. And really the only reason, I mean, I guess there are two reasons, but the main reason Derrick Henry wasn't a first-round pick last year is because of his age. And then the second reason was because like we had a toss-up at quarterback for Tennessee last year, you know. But other than that, there's like no reason. He still had 280 rushing attempts last year. I mean, went from 349 to 280, which is a little bit of a drop-off, but he still had a great season. You know, 12 rushing touchdowns, nearly 1,200 rushing yards off of those 280 attempts. Nothing to sneeze at. Still had 28 receptions for 214 receiving yards, which, of course, he's not known for, you know, being a receiving running back by any means. But yeah, I've been screaming about Derrick Henry all off season long. And at the end of the day, right, it's like Gus Edwards having the ability to have 13 rushing touchdowns in this offense last year. It's like, how does that make us in any way concerned about Derrick Henry not having the potential to score double-digit touchdowns this season? You know? All right, with this next pick, I probably need to draft a wide receiver. Just give me Jamison Williams here. We're going to have to get crafty at wide receiver in this draft. Tony, lady on NFL Fantasy TV show got Kelsey with her first pick last year. No one ever gets tight end with first pick. Well, don't listen to anyone on NFL Fantasy TV. That's just my opinion. But, yeah, last year, it was the year before that Kelsey was going in the first. I mean, I'm not saying that what you're saying didn't happen, but, you know, the year before we were seeing Kelsey go in the first round. So, but yeah, this year you won't see that. I mean, the last PPR mock we did, Laporta at the 3-1, Kelsey at the 4-3. I think in some leagues this year you might see Laporta maybe in the second, but I would say end of the second at that. I think beginning of the third is where we're going to see tight ends go this year in most leagues. But you never know. You might have someone come out and just want to draft a tight end, but hard to say. Tresner, wide receiver for sure. Yeah, I mean, see, I was hoping Jordan Addison would fall out here at this point. Actually, don't mind Addison. We got to draft for some upside here, but all I know is I can't take another running back. There's got to be Cortland Sutton or DeAndre Hopkins here. And I will choose Sutton. I mean, honestly, for that triple running back stack, this is not awful. Pickens, Reed, Deontay, J-Mo, and Sutton. I'll look at all your guys' teams at the end here. I'm not even paying attention. But I like a catch fam heavy lobby here. Pickens will either make or break your wide receiver squad. Yeah, I mean, it's like Pickens, Kirk, Cooper, McLaurin, Hollywood. Who do you pick? I was hoping Rashee Rice would fall here to 5-7. But Katz is in this draft. Oh, I didn't even see he had Mahomes, so, I mean, that makes sense. All right, 4 quarterbacks gone here in the 8th round. Tony, heard a joke. With your first pick, get a defense. Remember, defense wins championships, or get a kicker. Never do such a thing. None of my leagues have defense or kicker. Do any of our leagues have defense or kicker? Do the redraft leagues have them? I don't even remember. I think we took it out of everything last year. My home league still has a defense and kicker, though. Nothing wrong with the defensive team or kicker in your league. This is a T-Law Will Levis team. You know it, bro. This might be a Stafford Baker team, bro. Interesting thing is I got to sprinkle in a tight end or two somewhere here. But, like, yeah, we were basically just drafting wide receivers. So, give me Palmer. And let's move along. Tony, weirdest stat in NFL history. In 2010, Chargers had the number 1 offense, number 1 defense. Missed the playoffs. Is that a Philip Rivers team? That would be a Philip Rivers thing to do. 2010 Chargers. So the 1996 Green Bay Packers also had the number 1 ranked offense and defense. And they won the Super Bowl. A struggling special teams unit would help cause the Chargers to lose 5 of their first 7 games, each of which was by a 1-possession margin. There's the oh yeah, that was the last year LaDainian Tomlinson was on the Chargers. Shout out LT. All right, let's see here. I'm literally probably going wide receiver again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That put us at 7 wide receivers. So like, I think we're actually in an okay spot for what this team is. Yeah, I wanted Shaheed there. This is kind of a weird pick. Just give me Brandon Cooks. I thought about going quarterback there, but it's like I don't really feel like Purdy or T-Law helps my team in any way. Like, I mean, they're fine QB1s, but that's about it. So this is such a weird team. Breece Hall, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. We were just ultra aggressive at running back to start. Then Pickens, Reed, Deontay, Jameson Williams, Sutton, Palmer, Cooks. I feel like this could actually work. Goes Caleb Williams. I mean, we have 7 wide receivers. We just get our 8th as like an upside shot somewhere. Tresner, by the way, I don't know what's happening in the YouTube chat, but I'm losing all your chats. All your chats say they are retracted. So I don't know what's happening, but I can't like read chats. Best fantasy season ever is LT 2006. 2,343 total yards, 33 total touchdowns. Yep, I remember that year. I remember LT breaking the record and him scoring and the offensive lineman holding him up in the end zone. LT was like my second favorite player growing up. Tresner, I don't want to clutter your room. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. I'm not that important. There's not that much need for me. All right. I think oh, never mind. Depends on what Cats does with pick 125. So I thought I knew what I was going to do at 120. Yeah, okay. It's like, and then I saw Cats had Amon Ra in one quarterback, so that's okay. It's a good pick. Frankly, I might actually go running back here. Nah, give me Freiermuth. Go Steelers. Steelers and Vikings always have great wide receivers, says Tony. What do they know that other teams don't know? I think they're just two good programs in terms of developing wide receivers. But, I mean, I would say more so the Steelers. The Vikings, I mean, what? We got J.J. Diggs. Who else, really? I mean, like, unless we're going back to, like, Chris Carter and Randy Moss, of course. But like, who else in, like, recent memory? I think the Steelers list is probably a lot more in depth, unless I'm really blanking on someone. I guess Thielen with the Vikings. Anthony Carter. But look at the Steelers all time in terms of their wide receivers. I mean, even if not everyone pans out, it always seems like those short couple years with the Steelers are always very solid. Give me Justin Herbert. We got to stack Herbert to Palmer. Jordan Addison, I mean, true, but he's still. I think the verdict's still out on Jordan Addison, but definitely a great rookie season. Look at the Steelers. I mean, they got Hines Ward, Antonio Brown, Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, Antonio Holmes, Plexico Burris, Mike Wallace, Antoine Randall, Emmanuel Sanders, Darius Hayward Bay. Like, and then, like, it's like, yeah, like that short time Juju is with the Steelers was great. And I feel like I'm missing names too. Good tight ends, right? Heath Miller. Cat said I do it every stream. Yeah, I knew it was coming. Honestly, that last pick going Herbert was kind of hard. I kind of was thinking about going with the second tight end. I was thinking about taking Eckler. Tresner, the year I went 15-1, I drafted in the first. Rudy Johnson, Chad Johnson the second. The third, Carson Palmer in the ninth. It was a fun year. Yeah, I am trying to remember. My best team ever, which I was 15-1, and the only reason that I did not go undefeated that year is because I forgot to set my lineup that morning. I was on vacation. I'll never forget that. But the interesting thing in that year was I drafted 3 tight ends like early. I don't know why I did that. Don't ask me why. But man, I think Josh Downs is a good value there. But yeah, I remember I drafted Zach Ertz, Delaney Walker, and oh gosh, I can't remember the third. I don't remember the third. But they all balled out that year. And then the rest of my team was really good. It was whatever year the Falcons. Oh gosh. What was that Falcons running back? I'm going to figure it out. Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. But I remember he lost me in the playoffs because he fumbled. And then he had a chance to score, and he didn't score. Devonta Freeman. Oh my gosh, that was driving me crazy. Ayuk is going to be a Steeler, is what you're saying. I mean, that's like what I was reading early today, and then that did not end up being a thing, it looked like. So, maybe. But yeah, I was just saying that was like the latest. I mean, we went literally from it's the Patriots to, it's going to be the Browns to today was the Steelers. So, who knows? Who knows? Dude, honestly, I feel like getting Herbert and Stafford on this team I mean, granted, we're still kicking our running back position here, but I feel like this team is, for what it is, not that bad. We got 2 good tight ends in Freiermuth and Komet, too. We got 4 spots here, so we need to take a wide receiver, 2 running backs, and really got like a free pick with that last pick, too. Looking solid. Cats, I have too much downs already. I can't take him anymore with the injury news. It's a good price, though, for sure. Yeah, that always stinks when you can't get overexposed because that player's been hurt. And you're already exposed to that player. But then they start going at a cheap price. Tresner, I think the most likely thing is Ayuk remains a Niner. I mean, that's what I've been saying. But now I'm not as confident in that happening. So we'll just have to sit back and really see. Only time will tell. All right, with this next pick, I mean, I guess I'm going wide receiver. Randall Robinson or Malachi Corley. You know what? This is against ADP, but he's the top quarterback on the board. I'm going Justin Fields. Because we have Pickens and Freiermuth. I think trying to get the Steelers starting quarterback here makes sense. But this is a good start to this. I mean, good ending to this draft, I think. Tresner likes the pick. I mean, yeah, just having Pickens and Freiermuth. I mean, we just get a flyer at wide receiver to end and get 2 running backs who are dart throws. Let's go. Cats doesn't like it. I mean, really, with this team, like, this team's already wild. Like, I don't. This is one of those teams that it's just so crazy it might work. So, yeah, 2 running backs and a wide receiver to end. I mean, frankly, you could argue this is a 4 RB team. But probably the smarter thing to do is 5. And I might be picking some players against ADP here. See, that's the thing. That Fields may have lasted to 186. It's just hard to say. I see Fields get drafted all over the place. So. I don't think he'll make it back to me, so give me Damian Pierce. Give me some running back help. Definitely a weird draft for me. Yeah, it didn't make sense for this team. Oh, Trey Benson's way gone at this point. Yeah, Benson goes. Yeah, he went in the 11th round. Team that has Kyler. So he's gone. Far, far away. Or else I would probably pick him. I'll tell you though, I got Herbert on this team. Quentin Johnston's available right now. He's 20 picks against ADP right now. Nearly 30 picks. If I take him at 199, he's 30 picks against ADP. This might be my one team with Quentin Johnston. I might just have to do it. I might just have to do it for the chat. Getting mixed reviews in the chat on that one. Just saying, we need an 8th wide receiver. It might make sense here, boys. I feel like he's going to end up being like an auto pick to a team, though. Oh, man. I'm tired tonight, boys. This literally might be my only Quentin Johnston pick. I'm going to be like, no. No. Give me DJ Chark. I forgot DJ Chark is a Charger. Honestly, that probably worked out. Tony says fantasy championships aren't won on draft day, won by adding and dropping players on waivers. Nothing more I love in fantasy football than the waiver wire itself. Nothing better than good old waiver wire. That's still funny. All right, so with this last pick, probably got to take a running back. How's Kendre Miller doing? I guess not good. No new update there. You guys are saying to draft Brendan Rice. I've seen some good training camp buzz on him. Dang, I liked Deneric Prince in the 18th round. Tony, who predicted Puka was going to be awesome? No one did. No one's ever heard of him before. Well, actually, this is the importance of dynasty fantasy football, right? We were talking about Puka Nacua at this point last offseason. because we were aware of late round rookie wide receivers in startup drafts. And, in a startup mock for a dynasty league or a rookie startup draft for dynasty league or a rookie draft for dynasty league, you're going to be locked into rookie caliber players like the caliber of Puka Nacua. So it just kind of depends. But in redraft casual leagues, no one was talking about Puka. That's for sure. Gosh, what is this last pick for me? I mean, really. Might as well just draft Roman Wilson, go in on this Steelers aggression. But I'm going to draft Justice Hill, kind of cuff Henry to a degree. Yeah, you guys are probably right. I probably did get saved on Quentin Johnston. All right, so I'll take a look at the teams once the draft ends, and then we'll wrap up for the night. But another beautiful draft down, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a video going out first thing in the morning for you guys. Basically, first thing in the morning. I don't know. I don't remember what time it's going out. It's going out like 10 a.m. Eastern time. But we've had a video every day this week on the channel. Make sure you guys are checking them out. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment. Drop a like. We still got the shorts rolling out. And should be live again tomorrow night for you guys. All right, let's take a look at everyone's squads here. Cats, we got Mahomes with Rashee Rice. Nice. Goff with Amon Ra. Nice. Kenneth, Connor, Brown, Corum, Estime, Miller. Not bad. St. Brown, Collins, Metcalf, Rice, Leggett, Bateman, Dortch. Nice. Bowers, Hawk, and Parkinson. Not too bad. Got 2 stacks in there. Running backs could hit. Good enough wide receiver depth. A lot contingent on Bowers, but not bad. Jason, we got Hurts with both A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and Goddard. J-Lo with Christian Watson, and you got Jacobs on this team. Jacobs, Najee, Chandler, Algier, Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, not bad. A.J. Brown, Smith, Watson, Shaheed, A.D. Mitchell, Randall Robinson, Jalen Tolbert, Johnny Wilson. Ooh, and Johnny Wilson's on this team. Kelsey and Goddard, not bad. Good entry. W, what we do, we have Josh Allen himself. Drake May. So Allen stacked with... I'm so tired, I almost said Diggs. Allen is with Cook. That's fine. Drake May with Pop and Henry. Cook, Jones, Tajee, Charbs, Gibby, Roshan Johnson at running back. Not bad. Garrett Wilson, Emmett Jr., Diggs, Ridley, Curtis Samuel. Oh, sorry. Josh Allen's with Curtis Samuel. Gabe Davis, Demario Douglas, and Troy Franklin. The Josh Allen one was hard because, like, Diggs and Gabe Davis in here. But obviously those players aren't on the Bills. Njoku, Henry. Good entry. But yeah, you got Allen stacked there. I am tired tonight. My bad. All right, Herbert on my squad is stacked with Palmer and Jark. I have an unstacked Matthew Stafford. Demarcus Robinson did not come to me. I've got Fields with Pickens and Freiermuth, hopefully. Hall, Barkley, Henry, Pierce, Justice Hill. We went in on some running backs tonight. Pickens, Reed, Deontay, J-Mo, Sutton, Palmer, Cooks, Chark, Freiermuth, and Komet. This was an interesting build. I'll just leave it at that. Rory, it looks like Chase, Brees, Bijan, 10-team, half PPR. Who do I take at the fourth? In a half PPR format, I'm probably going to take a running back there. And I think it's really a toss-up between Brees and Bijan. Whoever you prefer more. Both these offensive lines improved in the offseason. So I think really either one is fine. And both teams will have better quarterback play this year. So I think both are in a very, very similar tier, and both are absolutely fine to take. But I would take one of the two running backs for you. All right, J-Dubs, thank you for gifting a 1-month membership. Goes to Jason. Congrats. Enjoy it. All right, guys, we're checking out 2 drafts tonight. Plenty of content on the channel. We've got PPR mock drafts going up. We've got advice videos going up. We got shorts going up. And we're just going to keep streaming, getting you guys ready for the fantasy season. So we'll just keep at it. I just noticed. Oh, never mind. We're good. All right. We will go ahead and roll out in the TikTok chat. There's a YouTube link. Anyone wants to check out the channel. Everyone who drafted tonight with me, thank you guys. And I'm going to get out of here because I'm super tired. All right, that does it for the night. Love you guys, man. Listen, community, love the catch, fam. I'll talk to you guys soon. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the catch.